leaders, here's the community group section of the masterclass, where we will be covering a plethora of topics ranging from vision to coaches to culture and curriculum to mandatory reporting and parents and knowing how to actually listen. Leading a community group is or can be intimidating. There will probably be many times where you just don't know what to do. Here's the answer. Breathe. It's going to be okay. Just like you're going on this journey with your students, we're going on this journey with you. We're here to care for you, pray for you, love you, support you as best as we possibly can. So let's get into it. What is the vision of ONA Youth Community Groups? You guessed it, to bring youth far from God, near to God. We believe we must grow larger and smaller at the same time. Growing larger to reach as many students as possible with the gospel and good news of Jesus, and smaller to build community and care for people. How do we make 400, 500, hundreds of students at a one night actually get connected in discipleship and relationships and help them individually and personally take next steps? The answer is community groups. We are a ministry of community groups, not just with community groups. They have one simple purpose: to bring people together. People just need people right now. Life change happens best in the context of relationships and students taking their next steps. Students should know they matter, how much they are valued. We want them to have a caring, compassionate leader to do life with them. Life change just doesn't happen sitting in a row listening. It happens sitting in a circle processing. And this is where we get to deepen our relationship with them, truly love them, and lead them in their next steps in their faith. That's the vision of it. Helping life change happen, the beautiful combination of relationships and next steps. I'm gonna walk through a lot of the structure and logistics and just how groups are run. The way groups work is they don't just sign up and we place them in groups. So I go, hey leader, here's your students. There's a whole leader youth group finder, and they go on, they find your group, and they register to your group specifically. So I go and said, hey, here's your students. I go, hey leader, who are your students? This idea of recruiting can be a little bit intimidating at times, but if you already know students or you've met them through a one night, because the point of a one night is to funnel them into community groups. So that's a huge recruiting grounds or inviting grounds, because it sounds better to say, hey, I'm inviting you instead of, hey, I'm recruiting you. But if you already know students, call out leadership potential in them. Say, hey, you have more impact and influence than you realize. Who are 4 to 5 friends you can begin praying for to step into community and do life with us? I think students are really the catalyst to reaching more students. So anything we can do from moving students to passive followers to active leaders helps them own their ministry. And I think that's actually what impacts the lives of the other students. We do need to engage and mobilize students by every means possible to be a catalyst in reaching more students. We also have an invite feature. Now this thing is incredible. We're gonna run through it a little bit more in the logistics section of this class, but basically you have a list of all students within active families within the church who are currently matching your group demographics, but are not currently in a group. And you can personally invite them and their parents, send an email, send a text, make a phone call, mark them as invited so their leaders know that, so we're not spamming them. But we actually have an amazing feature that has a lot of potential in it. And you'll get to see how that works later. But an email will be sent to the parents and students with your contact info the first time they sign up, and you get an email with them saying, hey, a new student signed up for your group. I'd actually encourage you, when you get that email, pray for that student real quick. Just say a quick prayer over them. But then whoever, and we'll get to that later, is the administrator within your group will actually need to email those parents. A lot of times it will email them the address where they're meeting, will email them your contact info so you can follow up with them. You can specifically find all of their info at ONE&ALL.church, my account. This is an amazing resource that we're gonna cover in detail because this system is amazing. I can say that because I didn't create it. I just said, hey, can you guys do this for me? We've got an amazing team here at ONE&ALL who built it. That is your one-stop shop for all things community groups and youth, and we will cover it in detail. In your group too, you can also have some kind of activity if you want to. But listen to me on this. When it comes to the activity in your group, oftentimes we find purpose in the midst of our passion. So you can use your passion to point to your ultimate passion. this could be a way to effectively invite students into that community. It's not something you have to do. Each and every one of you have flexibility. You even have flexibility within your group. A lot of times my group, which was a weightlifting group, was a gateway to get them in. But most of the time, only half the group even lifts. We kind of just hang out and do life together. But that's up to you and your co-leader. So you can brainstorm on that, but know it's available to you. When it comes to the time and location of groups, they happen different days of the week, anytime throughout the week, any location. It happens in a fall and spring semester. The point and heart behind this is we want to remove any barrier, any obstacle from students getting into community. Now, the reason we do that is we actually line up with the adult community groups in their fall and spring semester. We try to get as close to them as we possibly can, even in dates. And part of that is communicating to these youth, hey, you're not the future of the church, you're the church now. So we actually line up even in subtle ways. When they graduate, they go, hey, how do I get a community group? Same way you always have. So how we line up ministries across the church to point students to knowing they're the future of the church and getting in community. But that's really the heartbeat of ONA Youth, is community groups, helping these students look more like Jesus. That's the vision and structure of youth community groups. In the next section, I want to cover the coaches, the ones who are actually going to be pouring in and checking in with you week after week.